business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Ramona. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the pod.
Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. Every episode is an invitation, a reminder that business and life isn't just about profit, it's about purpose. It's about showing up with a servant's heart in every deal, every decision, every day to make a powerful impact on others. My guest today is going to light you up, and he's lit people up with coffee in the past, but he's going to light you up with leadership today. He's going to motivate you, he's going to challenge you, and more importantly, you're going to walk away with tools that inspire action, both in your life and in the lives of others. And before we dive into the show, here's your homework today, audience. What you think about you serve yourself and serve others today. Doesn't have to be a big impact. Even a small act of kindness or courage can change the game. So lean in, take notes, and let's discover how servant leadership in business can create ripple effects that last far beyond the bottom line. Quick shout out to my sponsor, Epic Impact. Transform how you pitch, post, and podcast by engaging, persuading, inspiring, and closing. It works, and I use it daily. Grab your free trial at epicimpact.ai with promo code Steve to start inspiring action today. With that being said, let's bring our guest on. Howard, welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart.
Thanks, Steve. Great to be here.
You have a long history of leadership. Started with Starbucks. We're with Starbucks for many years.
Right.
First question is, how much has leadership changed since you started way back in the day?
Well, it used to be, come to work, keep your mouth shut, do your work. Now it's come to work for the most part. Give us what you're thinking. Tell us what you're thinking about. Less autocratic than it used to be. So I think it's not everywhere like that. I mean, I'm not making that pitch, but I think there's still fear in the workplace. That there was 20 some years ago, fear of expressing your opinions, but I think it's more open, and I think today's generation expects it to be.
Yeah, that's very true. And experience teaches us a lot. I'm 64. You're probably 53, so you're
younger. Right. Yeah. Try 80.
Hey, 80. Look at that. Look, he's still going, doing great things. But what are the misconceptions, mistakes people make in leadership today that you learned that you made way back in the day?
That they have to have all the answers. I think leadership's primary responsibility is to have all the questions, the right questions, and then listen for the answers. But when you get in this trap where you think I'm a leadership role, my job is to have the answers. It isn't. It really isn't.
So asking questions and listening is probably a big part of this thing.
It's all of it. Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't mean that our experiences can inform our decisions. They do. And so you live a long time, you have a set of experiences that inform decisions that you make. But if you want a healthy organization, you want a culture that cares about each other, that really drives towards the purpose of the organization, they need to be included in the journey. So even if you think you have the answer, you're better off to find out and if your answer really makes sense today. So, but more importantly, have the right questions. If you have the right questions and you listen, you're going to move your organization forward.
Yeah, beautifully said. Thanks, Howard. Empathy and kindness. How important is that as part of the culture of a company?
Oh, God. Well, the guy that's the present CEO of Microsoft, who's done a great job there, says the single most important skill any leader needs to have is empathy. And I absolutely agree with that. I think empathy and kindness are foundational in terms of a healthy organization. Healthy kindness and love. I'm going to add love in there with it. So, love of your people because they're human beings and they're worthy of your love. And, kindness, understanding, empathy, yeah, absolutely.
I love talking about that when I keynote speak. I talk about love. Be like, look at me like, yeah, why can't I go hug my HR director because they had a birthday today?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Well, Starbucks, well-known company. You're a part of that. How do you guys deal with competition? Because once you became successful, you saw coffee shops coming up everywhere.
Yeah, when I was there, you you paid attention, but you had to stay true to who you were. It didn't. I mean, if you saw something that you thought was really good, then you might absorb it into your organization or your stores or whatever. And but for the most part, if you're listening to your people, they're going to tell you where you need to go. And competition is just part of the journey. We didn't to perseverate on it. We didn't over analyze it. We're not, we were very early, first of all, compared to other coffee shops. That's come much later. Now today, I'm glad I'm retired. They have to deal with the big competitors. I don't. I didn't.
Yeah.
But, I think competition, you pay attention to the competition, you don't put your head in the sand. And primarily because your competition might be doing something that these human beings we call customers want. So, why wouldn't you want to pay attention? But not overly worry about competition.
Well, I love what you just said there. These human beings called customers.
Yeah.
Talk about the human aspect of business and how I think it's taken out right now. We need to bring it back. What's your thoughts?
Absolutely. I mean, look at everything revolves around people. There is nothing that any of us will do in our lives that isn't about service to others, for others. I don't care what your role is. I don't care what your title is. You're a widget maker. If you're a barista, if you're a lawyer, a doc, it doesn't make any difference. It's always about service to others. So that's about people. And it begins with serving the people that work in your organization. And if you get that right, you got a better chance of getting it right, of serving the people that those people we call customers. I think all too often we we see them as customers, and whenever I hear that, I say, yeah, it's like they have a dollar bill pasted on their forehead, and if you just say the right thing, you'll get the dollar bill. That's to me not uh, the best way to look at it. These are human beings that we're serving, and whether they have a dollar bill or not shouldn't affect how we serve them.
Yeah. Treat people like we want to be treated. It's an old
Yeah.
phrase, still
Yeah.
relevant
Yeah,
today.
it's relevant. And we've been talking about it for 1,000 years, probably maybe 2,005, I don't know, forever. But we
Yeah, and
still we still screw it up. That's incredible.
it is.
And
It's
and
crazy.
leaders in this country still screw it up.
Oh, we won't go that black hole, but it's a big black hole. Your Starbucks career, you had massive growth. You went from 1 to 15,000 stores pretty
Yes.
quickly.
Yeah.
I have a lot of entrepreneurs on here, business owners. How do you handle growth like that? And what's the tip that you can give?
Well, Starbucks was unusual. I mean, coffee is a product that
Mm.
consumed globally and more or less in each country, and so we had a pathway to do what we wanted to do. But it's you want to grow your business, listen to your people. If you want to grow your business, listen to the people that you're serving, your customers. You want to grow the business, pay attention to what's going on in the marketplace. You know, that old find a need and fill it is absolutely still as true today as it has always been. And so it's 1 to 15,000 stores. And I started when there were 28 stores and stayed there till there were 15,000. But gee, there's 3 times as many now. There's 40,000, over 40,000 stores. It's incredible. I'd have never thought it would be like this. So when you're doing what you love to do and you pay attention to your business, you I'll give all your entrepreneurs, they all know this. Cash is king. Companies don't fail because they don't make a profit. They fail because they run out of cash. And so, but the primary pathway is through people and
Cash is
with
king.
people.
Yeah,
And
and
cash is
cash,
king. Yeah.
Howard, that's been around for, my dad was talking about that in the 60s. He
Yeah,
would
the
tell me, as
60s,
a,
it's been around forever. I used to
yeah,
have above my door, my office door, people couldn't see it. I looked at my office door and up above it, cash is king, right?
fantastic. There's a
Yeah.
tip for the audience. Throw it
Yeah.
on your computer
Just
screen.
don't forget that,
Yeah,
right?
cash is king. Love it. Servant leadership. You've done a lot of leadership. What is your definition of that?
Well, let me give it to you in a simplified form. So, as a servant leader, your primary responsibility is to help your people grow as human beings, help them be better human beings. Your second responsibility is to help them grow as professionals. And your third responsibility is help them achieve their own personal goals in life. And that's, to me, the basis of servant leadership right there. You're there to
Simple.
be served, not be served, and there to help your people get what they want out of life. And when you do that well, they're going to want to help you.
The flip side, what's the misconceptions of servant leadership?
That it's a soft, mushy, non-performance based idea. It's anything but. Servant leadership is about performance.
Hmm.
It's not this soft, mushy stuff. It's about performance in terms of how we treat each other, but it's also about performance and the challenges and the jobs we have in each of our organizations. You got to get the job done,
So a
right?
servant, right? Go ahead.
A ser a servant a servant leader commits to results and gets the job done. The difference is he doesn't get it done on the backs of people, but with people. He gets it done through people, and he understands that's the only way, or she or he understands it's the only way to do it. So that's really what it is. It's not, and you got to get the job done. And when you make a commitment in life, performance counts.
Yeah.
Your commitments count, and servant leadership is it's how you do that. How did I hold people accountable? By ongoing communication, by always being willing to help them, lend a hand when they needed it, by getting rid of the fear in the organization, so that if they were having a struggle, they could always know they could come. Not that I would do their job for them, but that I would help them make sure they had the resources or the knowledge they needed to do their job. But performance matters in servant leadership, and it's again how you manage that performance, not the demands of performance.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. It's your support, not doing their
Yeah,
work for them.
yeah,
Absolutely. You said the word mushy, which I
yeah,
love
yeah.
because when I talk to people about servant leadership and being a servant, you're going to say no to it. You're going to have to fire people.
Oh yeah.
Talk about that aspect of it because that's not mushy. That's hard work.
No, I fired lots of people
Mhm.
but it's how I did it. I tried to love them as much going out the door as I loved them coming in the door. I hired them and I was excited when I brought them in, and maybe they just didn't quite make it. And no matter what we tried to do, we just couldn't fix it. Now, how did I treat them going out the door? That means no surprises. They're always aware of where they are, that they're getting not evaluated once a year, but an ongoing conversation and dialogue. And when they can't make it, you do them a favor by helping them move on to where they can be successful. Sometimes it's within the organization, sometimes it's outside the organization.
That's such a big point, Howard, because it's so true. Why would people leaving burn a bridge?
Yeah,
Because they may
right.
come back. I don't know how
Yeah,
many
you never
employees
know.
you fired that came back or left and came back or whatever it may be. Um,
Yeah,
this love them in the door and out the door. That could
yeah.
be day to day too, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. It's all the time. But it's holding people accountable. I never had any trouble when something was not where I thought something was off of having a conversation right away. Always tried to do it in the moment, not in front of people, but with that person. You want to be giving your people feedback all the time, not driving them nuts. Not it's the good stuff and the corrective stuff. Hey Steve, God, that was a great talk you gave today. Your people will really stayed with you, and I think they totally understood your message. Or hey Steve, you were moving through that a little fast. I don't think your message was clear. That usually that day.
Yeah. That's so it's what I'm hearing from you, it's not a dictatorship.
No, 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 not dictatorship. No, at all. No, it's a healthy relationship between the person that has responsibility and the person that has to deliver on some results. You know, but it's a loving relationship,
Is
caring
this
relationship,
yeah, is this something
respectful
anybody
respectful relationship,
yeah. Is
authentic
this
relationship, vulnerable relationship. All
mhm,
those things matter.
it's huge. Can anybody do this?
Yeah, absolutely. You got to just care. You got to care about yourself, right? You have to be clear about what your values are, who you are, And then you have to be respectful of others and care about other people's values, and you have to make sure that they know that you do care about them and you're there for them. And it's not always going to be perfect. Look at all the issues we have right now with companies telling people they have to come back to the office. People are mad. They're mad at Starbucks right now, and they're mad at Microsoft, and they're mad at Amazon, whatever, whoever is doing it. But we didn't have it before COVID. We didn't have very many people working from home, and COVID changed the dynamics. And companies overpromised, and then when push came to shove at the end of COVID, they under-delivered. Now they're telling people, well, what I said then, there's no problem not having to be in the being in the office, not being in the office. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. There is a problem. We need to be together. So the conversations in the hallway sometimes are more important than the conversations in formal meetings, you know,
Yeah.
and you don't get that when you're at home. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, companies have to be um, um, kind about that. A lot of people, when companies said you can work from home, and people all of a sudden they said, God, that's fantastic. And they moved from Seattle to Boston or to some little town in Idaho. And they got their family there, their kids are in school. It's not always easy for them to just pull up roots and do it. So have patience with them, give them the tools and the resources to help them do that, and then understand that some people aren't going to do it.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them.
No, I agree with you. Does everybody have to be a leader?
Yeah, everybody has to lead themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the single most difficult person you're going to ever have to lead in your life is you.
That's well said. That struck a chord with me.
Yeah.
An audience, probably you as well. So for young people, I've got a group of under 40 that listen to this show. What's
Yeah.
a tip you give them and go, I want to be a leader. I'm 28 years old. What's my steps to be a leader?
Okay, here they are. Number one, you have to identify what your 8 to 10 core values are. These are the things that come hell or high water, you will not break with. They're the things you go to inform the decisions and the actions you take in your life. And you use those as a guide, right? So always as a guide. So you have to identify the 8 to 10 core values. But they're just words until they turn into actions and decisions. Then you have to decide what each core value means to you. So if you said honesty is one of your core values, what does honesty mean to you? How does it come to life in your world, in your life, and in your work life? What does it mean? And through all your core values, then you should have a mission statement for yourself. Where are you headed? What is it you're trying to do with your life? Right? What is it you want to be? My mission statement goes like this. Every day I want to nurture and inspire the human spirit, beginning with myself first and then for others. So that's my driving force, right? And I look at that all the time, and I push forward with that. Am I perfect? No, but I evaluate myself all the time. I ask myself every night before I go to bed, Howard, how did you do today? Against my values and my mission statement. And then have a plan. If you don't, there's an old saying that all of you have heard. If you don't know where you're going, any path will get you there. So you want to have a life, uh, an intentional life. You want to lead your life with intention. What is it you want to accomplish? What are your specific goals in life? What are you trying to do this next year? What are you trying to do in the next 3 years? What are you trying to do in the next 5 years? What is it you
Yeah.
want to, what is it you want to leave behind? And then hold yourself accountable. And those goals are across all aspects of your life, from spirituality, material, education, physical well-being, family, marriage, whatever the headings are, whatever the parts of your life. And you should have goals in each of those areas. And then you ought to have, uh, you know, accountability, measuring yourself or how you're doing. It doesn't mean you look at it every day, but anyway, you should have a plan.
Yeah.
And and if you do that, you know what your values are. You have a greater, you understand what your mission is in life. And then I have what I call my 6 P's that I add to this. And the 6 P's go like this. Everything I do in my life has to have a purpose greater than myself. It's about serving others, period. So it's always bigger than me. And then the second P is if I have a purpose greater than myself, then I darn well better be passionate about it. All my energy needs to go towards it. Then the third one is uh, patience. Not everything comes in the time frame that you want it to come in,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
It's just the way of life, right? It some comes faster, some comes slower, and you got to have patience. And then the fourth P is persistence. So some people think, well, patience and persistence, those are opposites. No, they're not. You got to be patiently persistent, right? And persistent means that no matter what, you're staying with it. Now, sometimes you find yourself on a path and you say, this is the wrong path. And so you say, okay, I'm not going to have my head in the sand. I'm going to turn left or I'm going to turn right. And you do that. But you got to be persistent about it. The one word that I would use to describe every successful entrepreneur that I've known is persistent. They're just persistent. Howard Schultz was the most persistent guy I think I've ever known. And he about everything, about every detail mattered, and he was a driver, and he was persistent about it. And then the fifth P is performance. We are, whether we like it or not, we're getting measured every day. We get measured at home by our significant others, our spouses. If I leave the toilet seat up, I hear about it. You know what I mean? If I don't take out the garbage when I'm supposed to take it out, I hear about it. And so I'm getting measured with performance, and we're measuring their performance. It's the same way at work. You commit to do something, you got to get the job done. You got to do what you say you're going to do, or you got to tell somebody early why you couldn't get it done, or if you need help, ask for help. But performance matters. And we don't like to be measured, but the facts are we're getting measured, like it or not. And we should be measuring ourselves, most importantly. And then the sixth P is people. Like I said at the beginning of this, everything we do is about serving others. And as long as you can focus on that, you'll never burn out. You might get tired, but you'll never burn out. You refresh yourself. And if you're focused on serving others, you are always have the energy to do more.
Yeah, that this is it's so powerful what you're saying and so simple as well, but that big thing on top of our head, it gets in
Yeah.
the way,
Yeah. It
right?
gets in the way. Yeah.
So something I've got, and we're coming to the end here, but I have to mention. So you're in your 80s, you're still making plans. So you're telling me, people listening that are 60, 65, 70,
Yeah.
keep planning. Even if you're not working, there should be plans done for the
Yeah, if
future.
you're 80 years old and you've never written down your values, do it now. If
Okay.
you're 80 years old and you have never had a mission statement, do it now. Whatever time we have left, live it with intention. You ought to have goals of what you're trying to accomplish. Now, the goals change. I used to have goals about, economic goals about material goals, things I wanted. I still have a little bit of that, but not much.
Yeah.
It's not where I'm headed in my life. But I do have goals about my health. I have goals about my relationships. Those really matter with my kids and my grandkids and my significant other, my wife, who I've been married with to for almost 50 years now.
Jeez.
And goals about travel goals or things I want to do. I have goals like this. I try to do podcasts. I still want to nurture and inspire the human spirit. And you give me that opportunity by allowing me to speak to your audience. So, you know, I need to be productive. I can't go to sleep every day. I don't play golf, so I just kind of keep driving and pushing, and it's not easy. It's not easy. I'm a guy that has had some form of anxiety or depression my whole life. I didn't get treated early when I was young. My parents didn't recognize it. I didn't know. And
Yeah.
then as I got older, the anxiety took over more and more. And I'd had little bouts of depression once in a while. And after I retired, I really struggled. I kind of lost my way. And the last 2 years, as I've gotten closer to 80, and I've struggled to deal with my mortality a little bit, the depression kicked in, and I've had to face it head on, and I've had to get more and more help. And I've never been afraid to go get counseling when I need it. And actually, today at noon, I have a call with my psychiatrist to because I'm dealing with something that's tough. I have a brother that's sick and it's hurting me a lot, and so, I just try to live my life. I want to take care of myself. I want to make sure that my relationships are solid. I want to make sure that there's nothing left unsaid. So those are my goals. I still have goals. Still have
Yeah.
things I want to do.
Yeah, I love that. You opened many doors, and I love what you're saying. And people hope you're listening. If you got elderly parents,
Yeah.
take what Howard's saying and share that with them. This is
Yeah.
powerful. Let's end with a fun question.
Yeah.
So I've reserved a table at a restaurant for you, a table for four. You're
Yeah.
going to sit in one of the chairs. In the three empty chairs, who would you invite to sit and chat, get to know, follow up with, whether dead or alive? And what food would you order for the table?
Uh, Nelson Mandela, um, Barack Obama, and Golda Meir.
Wow, that's a
And
leadership table right
and
there.
and what
Holy
would
man.
I order?
What would you
Uh,
order?
I would order Mediterranean food. I'd let Turkish food or Greek food or Bulgarian food.
We'll do a whole smorgasbord. That sounds
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
That's a great table.
yeah,
I'm not surprised because you're a leader and you brought
yeah,
powerful leaders to the
yeah,
table.
yeah.
That's really good. Well, thank you for being an incredible guest. Your golden nuggets were thrown out everywhere. That's why you're doing podcasts, and you did it today, and I appreciate that. How can people reach out and either get you as a guest or connect with you?
Well, let me give everybody my telephone number and my email address. It's HB, my initials HB at howardbehar.com. And my cell phone number is 206 972 7776. I take anybody's call. I'm not a consultant, so you're not going to call on me. I'm not going to pitch on some kind of business. I'm just here to serve. So, um, anyway, I want to help people grow and if I can.
Thank you for being a servant's heart. This is part two, audience. If you haven't, go back to the first one. He was just as valuable and giving back then as he is today. And I really appreciate that. And audience, subscribe to the YouTube channel, but let's go back to the human that Howard was talking about. You're listening to this show and you go, my friend is really hurting or needs to learn about leadership. And you send Howard's podcast to them and they
Yeah,
listen and you impact them. That's why you subscribe to podcasts,
yeah,
whether it's mine or whatever podcast Howard's been on or any other. Just go ahead and subscribe, get that
yeah,
sent to you, and
yeah,
listen to those. So, with
yeah.
that being said, me and Howard want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast. And we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.